everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the November 2020 Online International Fiber Festival. Today we are in the Canadian Prairies, which means we are going to be meeting some new vendors and taking some different classes based on some of the fiber traditions of Canada. So let's get started. Our first vendor for today is Charmed Dreams. Charmed Dreams appreciates the little things in life with fun and whimsical handcrafted gifts and accessories. For us, that means stitch markers and progress keepers, but she also creates jewelry items too. There is a giveaway going live today at the festival Instagram feed, so look for that. It's OI Fiber Festival, and it is for a set of 3 stitch markers or progress keepers. You can decide how you want to have it if you win. But the image of them, or the thing, is for her set of Canadian desserts, which I think are just so precious. Look at that. You have a little maple cookie on this side and a Nanaimo bar and a little pie. So cute. So these are set up to be the progress keepers. They're on lobster claws, but you can also, if you win, you can decide to have them made as stitch markers and use it like that. So that's one set that she has available. She also has, I'm just using this little sweater I knit as a backdrop. She has these really cute little yarn balls, again, as progress keepers or as stitch markers. And then I'll show you how they arrive to you. She has them on these little cards with the product that you purchase inside a little cellophane pack to keep them safe, so you know that they're not going to get messed up while they're getting shipped to you, or while you're sending them on to someone else, or when you're throwing it in someone's stocking or leaving it as a little gift for someone. So this is one of the stitch marker type. You can see it has a nice large ring that looks like it's going to fit at least a size 10 needle. Okay, so find them in the festival's marketplace. They are offering free shipping within Canada and free shipping to the United States with an order of $35 or more. Our next vendor is Way Homestead. Way Homestead is a family-owned and operated fiber farm and wool mill in Manitoba. They produce small batches of breed-specific yarn that highlights the unique qualities and color of individual fiber animals. Those of you in the United States might be familiar with the Shave 'em to Save 'em project. Has similar goals, trying to get people to use breed-specific yarns for the purpose that breed is best suited for. That's also the aim of the Way Homestead. Give them a look in the marketplace and see what they have available, and maybe try a breed that you haven't worked with before and see if you can find a project that really highlights the qualities of that breed. Our next vendor is Sunflower Knit. They provide knitting patterns, naturally dyed yarns, herbal remedies, and other high-quality sustainable goods for makers. They source their yarn, dyes, and notions locally, either making it themselves or working with a local maker. They're offering 15% off in the marketplace. Be sure that you jot down these codes for these coupons before you click through, because you won't find them on their website. It's just on the festival website. Our last Canadian vendor is Twin Oaks Farm. Twin Oaks Farm raises and sells wool from their flock of Romney, Blue-Faced Leicester, and Rambouillet cross sheep. Their goal is to produce locally grown and milled fine fiber from happy sheep. They have some really beautiful yarns available to us makers. We're so lucky. They're also offering a 15% off coupon code in the marketplace, so be sure you find them there. All right, let's get into what we're doing today. Our first class recommendation today might be a new craft to some of you. It might be outside of your comfort zone a little bit, but let's try something new. It's Punch Needle Basics with Rose Perlman. To do this class, you're going to need a punch needle, okay? This is what you're looking for. This is an Oxford punch needle. You can see it doesn't really look like what we think of with a needle at all, right? It makes me think of a latch hook, actually, but if you look at the base or at the tip, you can see we do have a hole there for the needle. So what happens is the yarn comes through the entire handle, through this channel here, and you hold it like this. And then you have a coarsely woven fabric that you then use this to punch through the fabric and lift out. And that's the entire motion. Punch in, lift out, punch in, lift out. And what happens is when you lift the needle back out, the fabric grips the yarn that you just pushed in. And you end up with these little loops trapped into the base fabric that you're using. People use this to make wall hangings, to make rugs. This is something that's been done in the Midwest and Canada and other parts of the world for a very long time. It's a great way to use up wool, especially wools that maybe you wouldn't want to wear necessarily against the skin. Rug wool, right? Every wool has a purpose. Some of these coarser wools we can use to make beautiful rugs and ornaments for our home. So if you want to look into that, make sure that you have the right equipment for it, and then go ahead and start the class. Remember, you only need to do one class a day, but you can also come back and take these other classes while you wait for the next festival to start. Okay? Our next recommended class for today is Lace Knitting Basics and Beyond with Uni Jang. Now, a lot of people are very nervous about lace knitting, but Uni really breaks it down for people and simplifies it. So you still have to pay attention, but lace is something that we can all do. Okay, so give it a go today if that's something that's been on your crafting bucket list. Our third class for today is for beginner knitters or for people who are maybe branching out into cables for the first time. It is called Startup Project, Cabled Hat and Headband. You're going to get the basics on how to work those cables. So if that's something that you have been wanting to try, this is a great place to start. After you're done with your classes, it's going to be time to do some exploration through Saskatchewan and Manitoba. I did find a brief video where woman from Saskatchewan who is from a small town gives an idea of what it's like growing up in such a small community. Many of us grew up in cities or in small towns around small towns. She grew up in a small town with very few small towns anywhere nearby, and so she breaks down what it's like to grow up in that sort of setting. Next, I have for you a 4-part series called Built on Agriculture. It goes through some Canadian history, viewed through the eyes of the agricultural community. It's actually really interesting. It gets into a lot of information that maybe you didn't quite think about when it comes to Canadian history. And then finally, we have a little documentary called The Canadian Town Living with Polar Bears. Manitoba is known for having polar bears, and you can imagine it's an issue for the people in some of the northern towns. So this talks about what it is like to live in a town where you have polar bears coming to visit in the night rather than raccoons or deer. If you are very interested in that, some viewers might be able to see another documentary if you have access to Amazon Prime, and it is on the service in your country. It's called Polar Bears King of the North, and same idea. It's talking about the existence of polar bears in relation to humans in the Canadian North. So make sure you check that out if you can. All right, our dinner for tonight is going to be cabbage rolls. Now, I asked my vendors for some help and suggestions about what we should be eating as we eat Canadian prairie food, and almost every single one of them said cabbage rolls. So I'm pretty confident in recommending cabbage rolls to you. I grew up eating them. My aunt made them all the time. I love cabbage rolls, so they're on the menu for tonight. We also have Dad's cheddar biscuits to go along with them, and dessert will be roll kuchen, which is a cookie that is popular in the Mennonite community up in the Canadian Prairie region. For tonight, we are going to settle in with our projects and do some knitting while we listen to Manitoba-based singer Begonia and her band. It's about an hour-long concert. I will warn you, there are some mild language issues, so you may not want to have your kids with you in the room, or you might be okay with it. It's quick and moves on, and it's not dramatically obscene. It's a few lyrics in one of the songs, but just be aware that that's there. And yeah, let's get going. I'm excited. I have lived near Canada for most of my life. I've been over the border, I think 5 times, but no more than 3 or 4 miles each time, and never as far west as the Canadian prairies. And as I did the research for this day, I became more and more interested in making the drive to go and visit this beautiful part of Canada. So I hope that you are left with that same feeling as we finish up the day today. In the meantime, make sure that you enjoy yourselves, get out and get a little bit of exercise today, say hi to someone you wouldn't necessarily say hi to normally, and I will see you here tomorrow as we go to Peru. Bye, everybody.